Hello, welcome back to the Carpool. It's me, your host, Connor. Happy to see you all again. It's been a little while, it's not been too long ago. I did tell you I'd start trying to make things a little bit more regular. But yeah, I figured I'd just jump on this fine Wednesday afternoon because, just let you remember this is pre recorded, so it may go out live, but I'm not actually here live. So if you are commenting down below if this is live, I can't actually interact and see them, but we do still appreciate you guys tuning in and, uh, letting us know what you think. But before we get tucked into the spirited but ultimately heartbreaking result last night, I'm looking ahead to this weekend's game against Hibs. Please don't forget, you can go up in the top corner there to our sponsor, piesports.com. You can use the code BUS1888 at checkout to get 12.5% off your order. So that's piesports.com with the code BUS1888 at checkout for money off your order of their tasty pastry treats, guys. And please don't forget, down below, you can become a Bhoycie Bus member for the low fee of $1.99 a month. You get a couple of wee bits and bobs. You get like wee stickers and stuff like that to put in the chat. Your name gets highlighted in the live comments down below more regularly. Just if that's something you were interested in, it also helps the wheels keep turning on the bus and helps keep us on the road. So if you do want to show a wee bit more love and appreciation, down below you can become a Bhoycie Bus member, and we do appreciate any and all um, memberships that you guys, give us. So thank you for that. If you do that, thank you very much. Where do we start? Where do we start? So last night, after a valiant effort, Celtic are put out of the Champions League by Bayern Munich. A last minute goal to take us out, and it was so typical of Celtic. It was so, you know, unfair and cruel, and the football gods, they work in mysterious ways and they often work to hinder Celtic in Europe. But the thing I was thinking this morning is, I'm not as much angry. I'm not really as upset as what I would be after, a typical campaign in the Champions League by Celtic, where we don't, make a good account of ourselves, and we do get put out relatively early, and we get maybe a plucky scrape the win to, have some the tiniest wee bit of hope to cling on to. We performed very, very well, very admirably. So it's a really strange feeling because I'm gutted, obviously, about the result and the manner that we went out, literally going out with the last kick of the ball, which, by the way, I don't think that goal should have stood, but we'll go into that in a wee bit. Um, but I think the feeling I'm feeling, I am overwhelmingly proud. I am very, very proud of the players, of their efforts, their performances that they put in this European journey. To go from what happened was we got the win against Slovan Bratislava at the very start, which was a kind of a box ticking exercise. We were expected to do that, but we probably weren't expected to do it in the manner that we did. And I think I'm not 100% sure on this, but I think we are one of the teams who have put the most goals past Slovan Bratislava in, their European campaign as well. I don't think they fought back a couple of times against some of the other teams, and maybe had games that were a little bit tighter. So I think Celtic done very, very well actually to kind of put them to the sword, especially at the first hurdle, first time asking, to then go and get that absolute drubbing uh, off of Borussia Dortmund. And it would be very easy, it'd be very typical for us to put the heads down after that and feel sorry for ourselves, but oh well, that's Europe over already. But because there's a new format, because the way that things worked out, we could, regroup, and we could look at things at a different angle. And that's what Brendan Rodgers has done, that's what the players have done. They then went away to Atalanta, who at that time, I know they fell off a wee bit now, but at that time were, I think, top of Serie A. They were the top scorers in Europe. They were an excellent, excellent team to go away and get an excellent draw there. And then a draw with the Club Brugge, beat RB Leipzig, who, you know, were a powerhouse in Germany and do relatively okay in Europe most seasons, and get that win against Bodo Glimt, you know, to take us through, you know, and you know, obviously a spirited performance against Aston Villa, you know, to get back into a 2-2, but then ultimately, you know, get put out, you know, not put out, sorry, but then get beat 4-2, you know, against a really, really good opposition who beat Bayern Munich previously in this competition. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, they're no mugs, Aston Villa. I think the maturity and, you know, the evolution, I think, is something that I've been crying out for a lot. You know, seeing there's kind of take that next step towards being better in Europe, and I'm absolutely delighted to say that I can see that happening. I can see it happen in front of my very eyes. You know, I think that this, you know, whilst that it'll take maybe like a little while to get over the initial sadness and the initial disappointment in the fact that we got put out in such a heartbreaking manner, we can take heart from the fact that we are seeing progression in Europe for Celtic. Finally, after so many attempts, after so many years at trying, we can see a formula that's working. We can see players coming in who, you know, the jersey's not shrinking to fit them. They can go out there and they can perform and they can, you know, go toe to toe with the big boys in Europe, and do us very proud. You know, the badge on the chest is, you know, like we said, it's bigger than any player, bigger than any manager. But it's good to see now that we're actually getting players in, and we have a manager who seems to be able to revel in that challenge and can, you know, accept it and take us forward in terms of being, you know, a competitive club in terms of European football again. And I'm so happy that I can actually sit here and say that. And I'm not, you know, doing my usual. I'm not effing and blinding and going absolutely mental about about how disappointing it is a European campaign it was, because it was actually very good, and I'm quite, you know, I'm quite zen about it all. I'm like I'm not raging. You know, I'll still be a bit disappointed, but you know, I'm quite, you know, it's like we will get more opportunities in the future. There will be times where we will have the opportunity to go to the knockout stages and maybe even further. You never know, because, you know, oh God, there's a dog. Brilliant. Sorry, try and ignore that. But yeah, I think that's, you know, it's it's a good indicator of where we can see ourselves progressing as a club. Okay, so I think that's where we can, you know, look at this and see where we can move on to, and really take stock and look at it and say that was a pretty damn good European campaign. Uh, but I will, you know, get a wee bit more in depth than that. I'm going to talk about some players tonight who really, really impressed me. Alistair Johnston, sweet Jesus, what a performance he put in last night. He was fantastic. He was everywhere in that defence. He was closing down passing lanes, making interceptions, last ditch tackles, winning things in the air. Positionally, his awareness was absolutely, you know, fantastic as well. You know, I don't know who won man of the match last night. I didn't actually see, because after the game finished and, you know, I heard Martin O'Neill and Neil Lennon talk, I kind of just went to bed. But I don't know who won man of the match yesterday, but in my heart of hearts, I think it should have went to Alistair Johnston, because the performance he put in, he was doing the role for two players last night. Because while Nicholas Kuhn, I think, played well and scored the goal, which was excellent, he wasn't doing as much tracking back and helping the defence out as what Maid on the other side was doing. So Johnston was often getting left by himself to shore things up, and wasn't getting a helping hand from Nicholas Kuhn. So he was essentially doing the job of two players last night, and done it so fucking well. He was absolutely incredible. And, you know, we're looking at, oh, I wonder what Kuhn's going to go for in the summer. There's eyes going to be on Maeda. The performances Alistair Johnston's put in this season in Europe and domestically, we're going to have to possibly, you know, bat off some offers for him this summer as well, because he's been very good. And I think he also goes away and performs relatively well with the Canadian national side as well. So his stock, you know, every game he plays for us, his stock is rising and rising and rising and rising. And we need to keep an eye on that, because I think I wouldn't want to see him go. When I look at him, this is what I see. I personally look at him and I think future Celtic captain. In my humble opinion, I think that's what I can see from him. I think that's the performances he puts in. I think that's how much of a leader he is on the pitch. You can hear the way he speaks when he does interviews, when he speaks about the club, speaks about, the way that the club wants to go, the players want to play, how they want to perform for the fans, and as a team, he's very very well spoken, and he gives kind of this aura of authoritativeness. And I'd say captain material. To be totally honest, I'd say he exudes that more than the likes of a Carter Vickers, who sometimes does get given the captain's armband when Callum McGregor does go off. But that's just my humble opinion. I just think that last night he was absolutely fantastic, and you know what? I think that you know he deserves all these flowers for the performances he's put in, and he's been absolutely incredible. I think this season he's been very very well, and he's chipped in with goals and that as well. So he's yeah, he's just been absolutely fantastic, and I think that the fact he never got man of the match last night, I think it's a little bit of a travesty considering how good a performance he put in. But moving on to another person in the defence, it's actually the defence I'm talking today basically. Kasper Schmeichel, fucking hell, what a man he is, what a keeper he is. Granted, he's unlucky with that. He makes a fantastic save right at the death, and then unfortunately it palms, it goes back across the goal, and Carter Vickers slips at the last minute, and it was Alphonso Davies, scores the shittest fucking goal I think I've ever seen. Which, by the way, the goal shouldn't have stood. Maeda is literally elbowed in the face. He's down holding his head as a head injury. The referee is meant to pull it up and blow the whistle to pull that back for that. The referee looks at it, does nothing, and Bayern Munich go up the park and then score to put Celtic out. But UEFA's fine. There's nothing wrong with UEFA. Imagine the headlines if Celtic, also would have went to extra time, but you never know what would have happened. And then if we put them out, imagine what the headlines would have been. UEFA can't afford for their big dogs to get put out by the likes of Celtic. And that's just my humble opinion. I'm not calling corruption. I'm not saying that. But what I will say is that referee last night had an absolute stinker. Every potential 50-50, which was, went in Bayern Munich's favour. Fouls that weren't fouls went in Bayern Munich's favour. Celtic players making excellent tackles, winning the ball. Bayern Munich player goes down, holding themselves, rolling about, crying. Referee blows, gives a foul for Bayern Munich. The referee last night was absolutely horrendous. There was balls that went out that weren't corners, that he gave to Bayern Munich as corners, and it's just the incompetency for refereeing. It's not just domestically, it's not just internationally. It is across all facets of football, and it is plain as day for all to see. Considering the fact that I don't think that goal should have stood, because Daisen Maeda, and he's not the kind of type of guy who just go down, clutching his face, try to play for fouls and that. Daisen Maeda's the guy that gets stuck in, into absolutely everything. He shows no fear. So for him to go down, clutching his face, to get an elbow in the face, there's something definitely in that. And yet the referee does nothing. Don't even pull it back. They don't even look at it. So I just think that it may sound like sour grapes to some people, but I personally think that should at least get looked at. And the fact that it wasn't that the Bayern Munich then go up the park, score, and put Celtic out in the last minute in the dying seconds of the game is just it's another thing that could only happen to Celtic. Their players were going down for the tiniest of little fouls. The referee was blowing the whistle, giving the fouls. Our player goes down, clutching his face, potentially elbow in the face. VAR might want to look at something. We get nothing. Doesn't even, not a sniff at anything in our favour. So, but well, what can you do? That's that. It's something we'll have to, just accept and move on, and just say that that's the way the cookie crumbles at the end of the day, basically, no matter how much it might hurt. But yeah, Kasper Schmeichel, the saves he was pulling off last night, his positional awareness, the passes, he put a couple of passes in the park actually, but some of the passing he was doing, he's so calm on the ball, even when he's getting closed down. 99 times of 100, he still managed to pick out that perfect pass to either of his defenders at each side, or even play a ball straight through the middle towards a midfielder, and just so comfortable, so calm on the ball. And I am going to be fully. I'm aware what this. I'm aware what this sounds like. It sounds like I'm getting a bit too ahead of myself, too early. But with what I'm seeing, Kasper Schmeichel is the best goalie we've had since Arthur Boric. He is. I think the presence he brings, the acrobatic saves he pulls off, the last ditch effort saves he pulls off, point blank, they defy belief at times. Like, it's absolutely incredible. And for me, he's better than Fraser Forster. He's better than Joe Hart. He's better than Craig Gordon. And I'm just so happy that he's came in and similar to Joe Hart has been able to flourish and almost reignite his career at Celtic. And I'm so happy that he signed that 1 year extension of his contract, and that he'll be here next season to hopefully have another fantastic season domestically and in Europe as well. Because I think that with what we're seeing now, and with the players that we have, the match that we have, I know we have qualifiers to play. Sorry, I was up late last night. Jesus Christ, so rude. Shouldn't be yawning. Sorry, guys. But with what we're seeing in terms of our performances, I know we usually look at European qualifiers and your arsehole clenches because your little fuck Celtic never usually do too well at them. But I think with what we've seen, I think there's a lot to be positive about, and we can look at European qualifiers and say we could get through the Champions League through qualifiers next season, no bother, if we're invested in properly. But yeah, speaking of, I want to talk about a player who's come in, who came in similar to Adamida actually, came in under a little bit of a cloud in the January window. Wasn't seen as a fantastic signing, was seen as maybe a bit over the hill, and maybe just there to fill a shirt number or something like that because we'd sold Alexander Bernabe. But Jeffrey Schlupp, last night, I thought he was immense. He was absolutely fantastic. And I'm going to read out some stats for you now. That's what his stats from last night. He made 9 clearances. He won 8 out of 10 duels. He won possession back 7 times. He had 6 successful tackles. He had 5 interceptions. And he committed 0 fouls. That is a brilliant performance for me, from a 32-year-old left back who hadn't played a lot of football before coming in. And when he made his first start, his first start. Sorry, when he got his first minute, Celtic coming off the bench, and he made that kind of bad pass. He gave the ball straight away to an opposition player. A lot of us maybe would be like, "Oh fuck, he's not too clever there, is he?" And he's kind of maybe shook off a bit of the dust and cobwebs, and got rid of the rustiness. And since then, he's playing in the league games domestically. He got a start. And last night as well, I think he's just proved that he is very much the upgrade at left back we've been looking for years and years, been crying out for it for years and years and years. You can see the difference in the quality. Greg Taylor does not get those stats there last night. Michael Elise last night would rip Greg Taylor to fucking shreds. Michael Elise never had a sniff last night. Never had a sniff. Like, he had maybe one shot or something like that, and that was it. Jeffrey Schlupp kind of had him on toast all night, really. He's very strong, he's very pacey, he's big, and he likes to, he's good at, he's got good running ability on him. He's, he's everything that Greg Taylor isn't. And I'm not trying to be personal with Greg Taylor. Everybody knows me and the big man on the Friday night show, Liam. We've kind of got our axe to grind with Greg Taylor. And I don't personally hate Greg Taylor. I think he's an alright guy. I think he's done not bad being a servant for the club, but we have been crying out for more for years. But Jeffrey Schlupp, to me, is everything that Greg Taylor should have, reached during his time at Celtic. Greg Taylor has got incrementally smaller, better and better, wee bit. Then he had that season under Ange where he was playing the inverted role and he looked pretty damn good. But now you go back to him trying to do his more traditional, like his actual role, try and be a defender, and it doesn't work out too well for him. But now we're seeing Jeffrey Schlupp come in, Premier League experience for years, and kind of knew Michael Lacey were ex-teammates at Crystal Palace, so he knew exactly what he was up against, and you've seen it tonight, what the experience can bring, and he was just excellent. He was so good last night, and I'm so happy. And if it was up to me, right, we're already getting Kieran in the back with someone. Greg Taylor's off. Like, Greg Taylor's got, I think he's already signed a P contract with Dinamo Zagreb, but like I'm 100% sure, but that's a rumour. If he fucks off, I know obviously I want a younger left back to come in. Just sign up Schlupp. If he's willing to come, I would sign him. I know it's based on very little evidence, and he could go for the rest of the season, drop an absolute howler. But off most recent displays I've seen, I would sign him and keep him and Tierney as the left back options. Keep Schlupp for when Tierney can't play, when he needs a rest or something like that, because he's more than good enough to come in and fill that position at left back if Kieran Tierney was to go off injured. I think, he's shown scheme in the door that he has been an excellent signing, and I'm so happy that he's proved me wrong, because I was a wee bit like 33-year-old player play for Crystal Palace who's hardly played and is a bit over the hill. That reeks James McCarthy to me, but I'm glad he's came in and proved me wrong. So thanks, Jeffrey, son. I'm quite happy for you to do that. But we have made quite a bit of money off of this European campaign. £38 million in total made from the European campaign alone. I think I speak for everybody when I say that this money, it needs reinvested massively, so that we can keep getting to this stage of Champions League football or European football in general. If we were to drop down the Europa League, in fact, no, yeah, you can't drop down anymore. But I don't know how did it qualify. Can you drop down in the qualifiers? Is that still a thing, or if you're out the qualifiers, you're out altogether? Is that how it works? I don't actually know, because I know you can't drop down in the league formats anymore. I know that, but I think getting to this stage in Europe, Champions League, I think now to where we got to last night, the playoff stage. I want that to be the bare minimum for Celtic every single season in Europe. I want it to be the bare minimum. You can say it, it's not, realistic. It is realistic. We just proved it's realistic. If you invest, you get in good enough players like we've seen with Schlupp, Kuhn, bringing Jota back, getting guys like Casper Schmeichel and stuff like that, getting a decent manager and who knows what the fuck he's doing, like Brendan Rodgers. You can take us to this stage in Europe. You can do it. We didn't just get through by the skin of our teeth. We got wins on the board. We got good performances. We got excellent draws against really good opposition like Atalanta and Club Brugge. Club Brugge, who just absolutely papped Atalanta out the Champions League last night, absolutely took them to the sword. So the fact that we were looking at that, as a bit of a missed opportunity against Club Brugge, could have won that game. Maybe Club Brugge are a decent side. We've only been beat twice in Europe this season, by Bayern at the home game last week and by Aston Villa. Sorry, 3 times. Sorry, talking shite, and by Borussia Dortmund. So only been beat 3 times out of what, 10 games? I think it is. Am I wrong? But no, I think I'm right. Slovan Bratislava, Dortmund, Atalanta, RB Leipzig, Club Brugge, Dinamo Zagreb, Bodo Glimt, Aston Villa, and then Bayern twice. 10 games. Only 3 times in Europe in 10 games. That's pretty good fucking going for Celtic. And you'll have all the decriers for Rangers fans and whoever. I'm seeing a lot of praise for Celtic for like the English mob, which is actually quite nice, to be fair. All the Premier League fanboys who usually sit and like to laugh and rip Celtic to shreds and that on social media and that. They're giving us, our flowers, they're giving us our dues, which is quite nice to see, because usually, we feel like we have to prove a point to them to, get them to respect us and that, and say that we're not a Farmers League and blah, blah, the rest of it. But obviously, the Huns are having a fucking laugh. The weird thing is, Alphonso Davies scored the biggest goal of Rangers season because Rangers in the end, the Champions League, they couldn't get in it. They're knocked out the Scottish Cup by Queen's Park. We beat them in the League Cup, and they're 13 points behind in the league. And the gap will only get increasingly bigger as the season goes on. We all know this. So Rangers are going to win nothing this season. They're also going to get put out. It doesn't matter who the hell they get, by the way, next round of the Europa League. They're getting put out. 1,000,000% getting put out because they are fucking stinking. Stinking bad. So, do you know what? Just turn around and laugh at them. Be like, you can laugh at us getting put out, but we went toe-to-toe with one of the biggest, best, club sides in the world, in Bayern Munich, who are 8 points clear in the Bundesliga. You've got guys like Harry Kane playing up top for him, Thomas Müller. Guys like Thomas Müller and that on the bench, Alphonso Davies on the bench, Serge Gnabry, Michael Olise, fucking Manuel Neuer in goal. You know what I mean? You just have to sit and laugh at these fucking losers just try to, take joy in the fact that we got put last night. Like, we have done things they could never, ever, ever achieve. Never mind domestically, in terms of Europe as well. So just laugh at them and if I don't even react to them, just yeah, we're quite happy where we are. I wonder how your season's going. Just to look at it like that. But yeah, I do think that the money we've made, not just from Europe, we're also going to make more money in the summer in terms of player transfers, kit sales, season tickets, all the rest of it throughout the season. It all needs to be massively reinvested. Next summer, I think Brendan Rodgers needs a new contract. I think we need to try and get that done ASAP because I'd be very, very concerned that after these 3 years are up, if he hasn't been given another contract extension, that he will just leave because he may get offered somewhere else to go. And I wouldn't begrudge him that, not one bit, but I would like to see him stay for as long as possible. Whereas I do think with him, we can see real good major progression under Europe like we have this season, and it can only continue to grow, continue to get better. I think we need to, reinvest in some key areas. Maybe another striker. Kieran Tierney's coming back, that's good, but we need to get another left back. Hopefully sign up Jeffrey Schlupp. I say maybe another couple of defenders, another right back, getting rid of, kind of players who, in my personal opinion, are a bit of dead wood, like Ralston. I know people think he's alright domestically for covering that, but I expect better. That's just me. Just keep, don't stop because you've already hit what you think is the height. Things can only get better. Keep pushing, push through the glass ceiling. The Celtic have set themselves, and just keep going. And just keep try and improve, reinvest, and you'll reap the rewards. £38 million we've made off Europe alone this season. You reap the rewards if you invest properly and try and go for that European glory. You do get the results back. But our European journey has come to an end, so we now must turn our attention and focus on domestic matters. So we look ahead this weekend to the game against Hibs at Easter Road. Potentially a bit of a sticky wicket this game. Hibs are on decent form. They haven't lost in the last 4 games. It looks like David Gray, he's actually turned it around. He's put Hibs in a good run of form. They were looking very, very poor at the start of the season. Them and Hearts, they couldn't buy a win. But recently Hibs have turned around their fortunes. They got that, they finally managed to beat Hearts in a derby. New Year there. And they've continued to get some decent results and kind of impress. I don't know about the actual football that they've been playing. I've been talking to my Uncle Kev, who's a Hibs fan, and he played for Hibs, but he says their football, he thinks it's quite poor, but they're getting the results. So they're clearly a very plucky side. They're clearly a very, I think, hard to beat side now. They've got decent players like Josh Campbell, and that Bashiri looks like he's maybe turned a new leaf. I still think he's absolutely cuffed, but he's maybe turned a new leaf. Martin Boyle, guys like that who, domestically have, proved that they're worth their salt in terms of being good, decent players. I'm just hoping that we go into this game at the weekend and there's no European hangover, there's no, oh, woe is me shit for the players. I don't think there will be. I think they're very, very proud of their accomplishments and how far they've got, and they can then take that, maybe frustration and anger, and go and give Hibs a wee bit of a mauling at Easter Road. I think that is potentially in the cards. But then you also look at the flip side, Easter Road, famously a wee bit of a bogey ground for Brendan Rodgers. He kind of got that monkey off his back last season, winning games at Easter Road. But I still don't think that we should look at this and be, even 3 points in the bag. Do you know what I mean? We should never look at any games like that. You have to try and respect the opposition as much as possible. And Hibs are on a decent run of form and have, looks like they've turned their fortunes around, and they look to be on the right track for finishing the top half of the table. So I think we need to go into this game, relatively prepared for a game that might not necessarily go all our way for the 90 minutes. I do think that with the potentiality of it being Easter Road, Hibs might come out a bit more, so that does leave us room to break on the counter, bomb men up forward, and then we will then capitalise on that and potentially put them to the sword. I think that's well within the cards. I think guys like Dyson Maeda, he loves a goal against Hibs. Nicholas Kuhn obviously scored last night, good form. Arthur Johnston, I hope they don't just rest him for whatever sake. I hope he still plays. Callum McGregor, who last night, again, was incredible running about that park like a blue ass fly. Just going absolutely crazy, trying to get every single ball that he could, and he did very, very well. I'm thinking that hopefully they'll come back, they're well rested, and we can continue on to run rampant domestically. And I think that will be a good day all round. If you're asking for a score prediction, I am going to say it will be Celtic 3, Hibs 1, Celtic 3. I think Adam Ida will score. I think Dyson Maeda will score. And I think Nicholas Kuhn will get the third and final goal to put the nail in the proverbial Hibs coffin for that match. But yeah, that's been the Carpool today, guys. I hope you have, enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Share the bus far and wide with your friends and family. Go up in the corner right up there, and go on piesports.com. Use code BUS1888 for all your tasty pastry treats and get money off. And down below, become a Bhoycie Bus member for $1.99 a month. And we do appreciate that. So I'll see you on the next one, guys. Hopefully, by the time we kick off against Hibs, you'll, rejig your focus and you're feeling much better about things. And like me, feeling very, very proud and happy of how Celtic have came. So here's hoping we get a good result at the weekend, guys. So I'll see you in the next one, okay? Hail, hail.